Okay, thank you so much for coming back once again. CPR and firstaid.org, online training, CPR and first aid training school. Okay, so we talked about what is CPR, right? The action or process of flowing oxygenated blood to the brain. Okay, and we're going to do that by pushing on the heart and blowing or putting oxygen into the lungs and flowing oxygenated blood to the brain. Okay, we talked about when do we do CPR, which is when the person is actually dead. Okay, they're considered clinically dead. We have approximately 10 minutes to get started before they can go biologically dead. And we conclude that by checking the heart, the lungs, and the brain. Checking for a pulse, 2 fingers on the neck. Checking for breathing by looking at the rise and fall of the chest and listening for oxygen coming out the nose and mouth. But primarily, we're going to be checking for responsiveness. Okay, so this is all the whole part of the class that a lot of people just get thrown into. Okay, we spend a little time in trying to emphasize why we're doing it, what we're doing, get a full explanation of what's actually going on, so when that moment comes, you're more inclined to respond. Keep in mind, this is a dead person in front of you. If that were to ever happen, chances are there will be a panic. This is somebody's loved one. Okay, so a lot of times conventional wisdom just goes right out the window, and we're kind of just reacting off of what we know, not the big words that we know, what we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, how we can react quickly. Okay, so now dealing with how we do CPR. Okay, we're going to do 30 compressions and 2 breaths. Okay, now there's 2 things I emphasize more than anything else in this class. First is when do we do CPR? The second is where do you put your hands? Okay, we have this bone in the center of our chest. It's called the sternum. It's connected to the ribs with cartilage. Okay, under that we have the stomach, the diaphragm, and at the edge of the rib cage we have something called the xiphoid process. All of this below the sternum, we do not want to push on. For one, there's no heart there. We want to push on the heart that's in the center of the chest under the sternum. So the hand placement is vital. Okay, hand placement is vital. If I put my hand like this would be wrong. Okay, because I'm not concerned with my whole hand. Majority of the pressure is going to come from the base of my palm, which I need to be in the center of the chest on that sternum bone. Okay, a lot of times in the field what we're going to do is we're going to come to the armpit and come down in the center of the chest. This is actually the correct position. Now it may look like my hand is offset, but this is the correct position because the base of the palm is in the center of the chest. Then I'm going to interlock my other hand behind it and I'm going to push down 30 times. I don't want to see anybody going like this. I don't want to see anybody going like this. The proper way of doing the CPR is we're going to have the victim on the side of us, base of palm, center of the chest, locking our elbows out. Now I'm doing this on a table today, right? But most likely we'll be doing this on the floor, okay? And we're going to be locking our elbows out, leaning forward, making a straight line between our shoulders and our hands, and we're going to do 30 compressions. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, 30 compressions and then 2 breaths. Okay, so chances are you won't have a mouth to barrier device. Nobody's just walking around with a mouth to barrier device or a first aid kit for that matter, right? So until this arrives, you're just going to do nonstop compressions. When it does arrive, meaning you send for it, you ask your coworker to go get the first aid kit because it's time for you to do CPR. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put it over the nose and mouth. Now there's different mouth to barrier devices. Okay, if you don't have this type, then you'll just simply just pinch the nose and still do the breaths. Okay, but one thing that we want to make sure you do is that you create a seal and you do what's called a head tilt chin lift. Okay, it takes 2 hands to do the breaths. All right, you're going to push down on the center of the chest, on the bridge of the nose, and you're going to lift up on the chin and blow. 2 times, watching for chest rise to make sure the oxygen went into the lungs. And like we discussed earlier, the lungs mix the oxygen with the blood. Okay. So for adult CPR, we do 30 compressions and then 2 breaths. We're going to do that over and over until the ambulance arrives, non-stop. Okay. Keep in mind, we're going to be pushing in the center of the chest. A lot of mistakes that a lot of people make is when we go to giving breaths and we go back to giving the compressions, we tend to push in the wrong spot. Once again, this is the xiphoid process. Under that is the diaphragm. Under that is the liver. We don't want to lacerate the liver. We don't want to break ribs that can ultimately puncture a lung. That will lead to blood coming out the mouth, a pneumothorax, a list of things that can occur. We want to push in the center of the chest so we can save this life and they can make a quick recovery. Okay, so thank you so much for understanding how to do CPR. Now, this how is only going to be dealing with adult. In the next video, we'll discuss how to do child CPR. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.